Hey, we are back. Finally, it's been a couple of weeks just with all the busy schedule stuff, but we are back with episode 20 of the Overdue Sports Show. I'm your host, Jake Sawinski, accompanied as always by, well, Masa. I almost forgot how to do the damn intro there. It's been so long.
It has been a couple weeks. I think we're 2 weeks removed. We were both out of town for a good portion of the last 14 days. So things just get chaotic. We're both traveling again in a couple of weeks, but we're going to make sure to backlog some content. So stay tuned for that. We got some really fun conversations that are going to be in those that I think will spark some arguments depending on which side of the coin you fall on. So I'm actually really excited for those. But it has been a couple of weeks. Excited to dive in. This week is going to be very general in terms of what we're going to talk about, just because it's been a while. And so we're gonna be jumping around a bunch because we do have different finals in all of sports right now. We've got NBA finals, we've got Stanley Cup finals. So there's going to be a lot to talk about over the next couple of weeks with that stuff.
Don't forget the WNBA finals because they're always playing, right?
Because it's
always
the fourth one this year.
Yeah. It's funny that, I don't know if we talked about that off stream or off, pre-show or whatever months ago, but I had somebody else say that too. They were like, I feel like they do the finals 4 times a year. So
nobody
that's not
talks
just
about
you.
it. I feel like it's this thing that everybody in the back of their head, once you say it, is like, I think you're right, but it's never acknowledged in the public sphere.
Yeah.
I need to know if other people think that too, because everybody that I talk to about it, if I bring it up, they'll agree with me and say, I think you're right.
Yeah, no, you are right.
I swear
it
it's
feels
literally
that way.
4 times a year. I don't actually know what their schedule is. It doesn't make any sense to me, but I swear there are multiple times a year where they're in the playoffs.
As long as they keep cashing some bets for me. I don't know if you saw, but I'm on a WNBA heater.
No, what's worse, that you're betting the WNBA or that you're betting KHL? To be decided.
WNBA. Hands down. And I'm betting it well, despite knowing nothing about it. And they want to be taken seriously.
That helps sometimes.
It does. But before we go completely off the rails talking about women's basketball, let's hear about your trip, because your travels were actually sport related. Mine were not. But let's hear about what was it, the conference tournament?
Yeah, Big 12 conference tournament. I was at Globe Life Field for 4 days and a couple of nights, spending all my time at Globe Life for the Big 12 tournament. It was electric, honestly. And the coolest part of it was, the stadium is fairly empty just because it's a college tournament, and the closest schools there are Houston and TCU. So it was mostly a TCU crowd, a lot of Arizona folks, a decent amount of Mormons were there for BYU. And but it was pretty quiet in terms of people there, but it was such a cool experience just being able to have free reign of the stadium, able to go into the press boxes, get some writing done, jump down to field level, get draft film of guys, and just really good baseball all weekend. It was awesome. So I flew in 4 a.m., didn't get home till 2 a.m. that same night after 4 games in a row and just a super long day. And then really just spent the time writing and being in the stadium and meeting people and met lots of cool folks. It was electric. And I just got approved for credentials in Omaha, so I'm going to be there in a couple of weeks as well.
Cool.
So I'll be there for the national championship and probably one of the semifinal games if it's needed. So that'll be a really good time as well. So more boots on the ground to come.
Oh, that's cool. Weird question, not necessarily sport related, but I've always wondered this because I've never been to a Division I neutral site tournament event like that for any sport, let alone baseball. What is the concession deal like?
It was all
how does
open.
that work?
It was pretty good.
Do they do the same thing as the pro team does, or is it different?
No, it's the same. It's the same. I don't even know what to call it. Kiosk. What do you call it? Store, I guess, restaurant, whatever you want to call it. The same stands. They only had that. It was basically all the way down right field line through third base was open.
And you don't need it all. Yeah,
you don't need it. And then it was just on that first level too. But yeah, their concessions were open. So I mean, they ran it like the pro ones. So there was a couple of places open in there.
You get your nachos and a Rangers helmet, or did they swap all that stuff out?
No, you could have. I didn't, but you could have.
Okay. Oh, that's cool. Okay, then that's what I meant. It's do they keep all of the props, I guess.
stuff.
Yeah, like all that stuff, like Rangers theme stuff. They keep selling that. That's what I wondered. I was like, I wonder if they grabbed like the neutral color helmets or
I
something
feel
like that.
like a while ago, not even a while ago, a long time ago, I was at MSG for that intro tournament they do for college basketball. So I got to see like Duke and Arizona there. This is probably circa 2013 or 2014. I don't know if they had all the Knicks stuff in there. I have no idea. I didn't even pay attention to that stuff. I really want to go back to MSG for one of those though, because that was super fun. Like those beginning of the year tournaments, kind of the round robin neutral sites.
Yeah.
Electric environment though. There was a ton of people there for that one.
Okay, that's cool. I was always genuinely curious about that. It's a weird question. I'm sure you weren't expecting. That was the last thing you were expecting. But I'm just curious. It's like,
they had the pro shop open. They had the Rangers pro shop open.
That makes sense. I mean, kind of like a stadium souvenir, right? Like you're going to even if you're watching college ball, you're still going to an MLB stadium. But that's cool. Like that place looks fun for any kind of
really good stadium. Very, very good stadium. I would 100% go back. Even for a Rangers game, it was a really nice field.
There you go. So, and anything else you wanted to mention about the quality of play or anything like that? Or I'm sure
it was really good. No,
it
was really good baseball. I mean, the coolest part is just being able to be in the press conferences and stuff, because with a tournament like the Big 12, it's not the ACC or SEC, so there's less press people there. Most of the press people came as beat writers for Kansas and TCU, quite honestly. So those pressers were a little bit more packed, but I could basically like form my questions around my articles because I knew I'd be able to get questions in, which was awesome, like in multiple if I wanted. So that it was just a really great experience. Like the coaches were all great. People there were fantastic, really good venue. So I had nothing but good things to say about it. And then next year, it's moving to Surprise, Arizona at one of the spring training fields. So if I go back, it's going to be about 120 degrees outside.
Oh, that's cool. I'd be all for that.
Oh, gosh. I don't know. I'm kind of scared of it, quite honestly.
Oh, you'll be okay. Just you got to pre-tan. Next year, I want you to ask a bad question. And I want to see if you can get somebody angry at you. I can't imagine anybody would.
The best compliment I got all weekend was coaches going, "That's a great question." There's no bigger ego boost than having a coach tell you.
Yeah, exactly. Because
I don't know if they're just pumping it up just because like you're there or whatever. But there was a couple that I threw out there, and they're like, "Oh, that's a really good question." I'm like, "That's it."
Yeah. But I mean, I feel like it would be genuine though, because I mean, how many times do you see? I mean, pro sports is different, of course, but how many times do you see a presser like on TV after the game and they get all pissed off or like they berate the
There's a lot of those this past weekend in college baseball too. There's a handful of those.
Not at Big 12 though. It's just kind of SEC. Yeah. Okay.
It was in the regional. The regional ones were mostly with the teams that disappointed, which like to be understood. I get it, but there's just a level to it.
But yeah, it's like timing, right? Like you don't want to like you made this mistake here, there, and it's like, of course, what do you expect? Like the guy's gonna be angry about it.
Some of them are needed though. Quite honestly, Vanderbilt, the #1 national seed, got bounced. If you don't follow college baseball,
nope.
And so a reporter asked a question, and she basically phrased it as like the offense really struggled. Like, what did you see with the at bats that caused you to come up short? Because they got essentially no hit twice by the 4 seed in that tournament, a Horizon team in Wright State.
That's a fair question, I feel like.
No, very fair question. And Tim Corbin is one of the best in the entire country, like not even country, ever. Like one of the best college coaches ever, like period. And his response was something to the effect of like, this is playoff baseball. Things happen. If you've never been in the environment, then I don't know if you really understand. And it was kind of like, that was a valid question. Like, you guys really struggled against a team they should have dominated. Like, yeah. I thought it was a very fair question. So sometimes, obviously, in postseason baseball, things get the best of you. It's bound to happen. There was definitely a couple of those in disappointing games when teams got bounced from the tournament, where there's definitely some frustration showing. But overall, like, really good experience. The coaches were all fantastic, and like those rooms of press conferences were probably 8 or 9 people deep at most. So being able to be in like a small environment, ask players questions, get good video of it was really, really cool.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, another weird question, I guess. It's just you don't always expect that. College baseball is not as publicized as, other sports.
Right.
But you'd imagine it would work the same way, but I'm just curious. I've never been in a setting like that or in a position to be able to ask somebody that or watch somebody being asked that, in person. So I was just curious. So what do you want to move on? What do you want to move on to? A little hockey, a little basketball with two new series starting?
Let's talk some stick and puck. We got the Stanley Cup. I almost said Stanley Cup playoffs. Stanley Cup championships kicking off tonight with the Florida Panthers and Edmonton Oilers. What do you like in this one? I mean, Florida has been kind of a wagon all postseason. Edmonton looks really good. I feel like this is going to be a really evenly matched series. We talked about it a little bit pre-show. You thought Carolina just wasn't quite up to snuff, especially when you look at like those last couple of games.
Mm-hmm.
But Florida has looked really good. And granted, I don't think the East was as strong. So I'll throw that one in there as well. I think the West was the much tougher one to get through. So that's kind of like a nod towards it leaning towards Edmonton. I wouldn't be surprised to see the Panthers do it again.
I wouldn't either, but you kind of pointed out something that I was going to highlight as well. Like for weeks or months now, we've been saying, or I've been saying anyways, that I thought the winner would come out of the West just because they're going to be super battle tested. And, the East was a little bit more open to whoever was playing well at the right time. But I think we kind of agreed that just the East as a whole wasn't as good. And, it was going to be Washington or maybe Toronto. Like they won a playoff series. That was crazy. Or it would be Florida again. But I think I'm going to go with Edmonton here. One, sticking to my prediction. And two, you touched on it a little bit. Like Florida has been really good. And my biggest takeaway wasn't that Florida wasn't good, because they certainly were. But I was watching that series thinking that like Carolina had no business being there. Like, you know what I mean? Higher seed, immediately gave away home ice, like down 2-0 immediately. And then they lose game 3. And like that game 4 is like, where was that intensity the entire series, right? Like, and playing in Raleigh has like that stadium has a reputation of being incredibly hard to play at. Like it's up among the top 5 home ice advantages in the entire league. And they had nothing. And that was a big shock to me. But then again, it's like they won game 4, and I saw something. It was like the first time they've won a Eastern Conference playoff or Eastern Conference Finals game in like 15 or 20 years, ever since they won the cup last. Like that was the last, and they've been good for the last 5-6 years, and like they've been to the Eastern Conference Finals the last 3 years, I think, and they didn't win a game in either. It took 3 years to win one game. Like, I don't know. I feel like that was kind of both, right? Like Florida is legit really good, and maybe Carolina just isn't there. So not really sure what to make of that. I thought Edmonton handling Dallas was a lot more impressive, because Dallas is a team I've been high on for the last couple of seasons, and Edmonton boat raced them with the exception of game 1, really. And Edmonton played one bad period. I mean, I think they gave up 5 goals in the third period in game 1. But after that, it was pretty much Edmonton the entire way. I like Edmonton. Me, I'm pretty typically a contrarian bettor, but sometimes it seems like those stories, those storylines that you see before a series start, they kind of materialize, right? Like Wayne Gretzky, greatest hockey player ever, lost his first Stanley Cup, wins his second one the next year. And Connor McDavid is like in that same position, right? Like he is the next best in class behind Gretzky. I'm not saying he's the second greatest hockey player ever, but you know what I mean? Like the expectations are there. Wearing the same uniform, Canadian guy. Like it's setting up for that. And I'm on the opposite side of that, but I don't know. I think it might be it this year. And it makes for a good rivalry too. Like if they can split them out, and then like, hey, next year the same thing happens, and it's like, oh, we're out for blood, third time's a charm kind of deal. You know what I mean? So I'm kind of rooting for Edmonton. I'm not sure how this game's going to go tonight, but for me, It's gonna be goalie play, and it's not like a crazy thing to say. A lot of time it is, but Bobrovsky's been touched up a little this playoffs. Like he's still been really good in the games they've won, but the games they have not won, I felt like last year he was much better in the games they lost, and this year, like when he gives up goals, they come often. So I think Bobrovsky's a guy to really pay attention to because if he'll make your 10 bell windmill saves and all that, but if he lets a couple through, it seems like this season anyways, to my eyes, it seems like they've come often as opposed to just one or two.
Yeah, definitely. And to your point on the McDavid side, on Edmonton side, old man Corey Perry putting together a hell of a stretch right now. He's been playing ridiculously good hockey in the playoffs.
Dude,
so far.
I forgot about him.
He's 40, and he's playing really good hocky. He played great last year.
He's also lost 5 consecutive Stanley Cups. I forgot about him. Like, that's a good point. So like maybe it is Florida. Fuck, now I'm double guessing. Is that not insane? Like he's been on the last 5 losing Stanley Cup teams. Lost to Dallas, lost with Montreal, lost with who the hell did 23? Who won 20? The Avs. No, they beat the Canadians. It was the weird Canada had COVID restrictions still, so they like realigned who played where.
He lost with Tampa.
Oh yeah, when Tampa lost to the Avs. Right?
In 23, right?
Yeah, and then who did Vegas beat? Oh no.
His last 5 teams where he's been with Edmonton, he was with Chicago for a short stint at the beginning of this year.
Yeah,
of last year, sorry.
Yeah.
Then he was with Tampa for 2 years, Montreal for 1, Dallas for 1, and then Anaheim the rest of his career.
Okay. Yeah, so Corey Perry is trying to get that elusive Stanley Cup. Could you imagine losing, like you playing your sport and you losing at like the most crucial moment of the season 5 years in a row?
Every single time.
Yeah, like Jim Kelly with the Bills in the 90s. Like, could you imagine losing the big game 4 times in a row? We're always talking about how LeBron doesn't have the clutch gene. Could you imagine like LeBron losing 8 finals in a row? That would be tough. Or like Jerry West. No, dude. Yeah, Jerry West. And I give it, it's the 60s, it's different, but like you're at the NBA finals and you lose 8 times. That's tough. That's really tough.
He's getting one. He's getting one eventually.
I don't know. You said he's 40. He's running out of time.
He is. He's ageless, dude. I always forget how long he's been around.
Yeah,
I see his name and I'm like, holy cow, he's still in the league.
Going. Yeah, and he still plays meaningful minutes too.
Yeah,
it's like to your point. Yeah, but I'm excited for the hockey series. I'm not terribly excited for the NBA series, but new blood again. Like I think we preluded it a couple weeks back on our last episode that we were gonna kind of take a all-encompassing conversation about like market size and teams and like people's perception of like how good parity is in each of the major sports. And ironically, I feel like people that think the league with the least parity is probably the NBA, right? And in fact, it has the most parity. You've got the last 6 NBA finals, a different team has won, and this matchup guarantees a 7th. Because the Pacers and the Thunder have not been to the finals probably since we've been alive, if not ever. I'm pretty sure the Thunder have never been there.
Thunder didn't go with KD and Russ.
Did they go to the finals, or did they lose in the conference finals?
That's a good question. They went deep in one of those years with Russ and KD, and like Ibaka
no, I think they ended up losing to the Spurs.
Yeah, actually, I think you're right. That was like Spurs dynasty time too.
Yeah, because I know it was Heat and Spurs like 3 times there. But like, yeah, ever since LeBron went to the Lakers, the parity, well, I guess even back to the Cavs the second time, like the parity in the NBA has been pretty crazy. Because like you had the Warriors in 18 with Kevin Durant, which was cheating, not fair. Then you had the Raptors, the Lakers, if you want to count that one. I guess they say he did it, so I guess it counts, right? Then you had the Bucks. Then you had the Nuggets. Am I skipping a year? I might be skipping a team. Then you had the Celtics, the Heat. I think the Heat were in there. Could be.
I have no idea.
Yeah,
I don't follow the NBA close enough.
I don't either. I'm surprised I got that far.
Yeah,
but regardless, there's been a lot of parity, and you really don't expect there to be a ton. Just when you think of last 15 years with the Warriors and LeBron. But yeah, this could be the 7th different NBA champ in the last 7 years. Pretty cool. But I know you have no idea who's going to win. I don't have an idea either. But good old Book It with Trent is going to be my guide. He is going to take me to the promised land. He bet the Thunder to win this series. And even though I do think the Thunder are probably a better team, he likes pain. Unintentional pain, and he's going to find it. I think the Pacers are winning this finals.
I like it. I've got no insight on this one. I'm useless when it comes to NBA.
I guess I do have one question before we move on, because besides bashing it, which we're really not doing this time, which might be a record for the most time we've talked about the NBA without slandering it. What is your perception of the Pacers? Because I feel like unless you're a Pacers fan, nobody has anything good to say about this team, and I'm not really sure why. Maybe it's because we live in Wisconsin and the Pacers seem to bounce the Bucks every year, but it seems like a league-wide thing where they're not very well liked, and I'm not really sure why. I know they did that players poll and they think Tyrese Halliburton's way overrated, and that could be the case. I'm not saying that's wrong, but I feel. Well, no, that was a player poll.
I know, and I saw that come out. He's. I guess he's really good. That's what I was going to say. My perception of them is that Tyrese Halliburton is better than what people give him credit for, but it might be the opposite.
It could be. Yeah, I don't really know either. I don't really watch, but you know what I mean? I just feel like they're trying to think of another, you know how people Brewer fans hate Manny Machado because he stepped on Jesus Aguilar's foot in that Game 7, which buddy, you are a professional first baseman. Why is your foot in the middle of the base? And they're like, oh, he's dirty. And it's I think Manny Machado has a little bit of a reputation, but not for that. I don't think that was a dirty play, but he might have done other things. But that kind of just fueled the narrative, and they hate Manny Machado because of that. I feel with Bucks fans, it's kind of the same thing with Halliburton. I was just curious what you thought of if you don't have an opinion, that's fine. I just feel like the hatred's a little unwarranted because it's not like they've been good. They've been okay. They've got they're kind of the example of the new NBA model, right? Kevin Durant was the last super team. It hasn't worked since. I don't know. I was just curious if you had any thoughts on that. Maybe I'm just...
No, not really. And part of it could be too, I didn't grow up in Wisconsin, so I don't have the deep understanding of teams that Brewers or Wisconsin fans in general just hate, other than the obvious one, other than the Bears and the Bulls. Very obvious ones.
I don't even hate the Bears. It's how do you hate a team that fucking sucks the last 20 years? It's Packer fans, oh, fuck the Bears. Why? They're little brother. Why do you hate them? I just like the Vikings more because Vikings fans think they're shit, the shit. It's you guys haven't done anything ever. I don't think they've ever won a Super Bowl. They've been to one. It's what do you guys know about winning anything? At least the Bears have been to 2 of them. They won it once. It's the best team ever too. Challenge me, fight me on that. Literally the best team ever. But yeah, that's a good point too. If you're not from here, you kind of don't get the background context of all the losses. But you've been here long enough to know that Wisconsin sports fans are the same. They whine about everything. Maybe that's all sports fans, but I feel Wisconsin sports fans I feel like Wisconsin teams are especially whiny.
Do you want to know my when you ask me about the Pacers, the first thing that comes to my mind is like Roy Hibbert. That's how like dated I
Roy
am
Hibbert,
in the NBA.
Danny Granger.
I can't remember. Oh, is it David West? Was David West there 4?
At one time, I believe so.
Yeah, like all on the same team. Yeah, that's like when you ask me about the Pacers, that's the first thing that comes to my head.
Yeah, well, that was the last time they were good when Lance Stevenson blew on like.
Yes.
Yeah, that was
LeBron,
what that was.
yeah.
That was like 12 years ago. Like they haven't been
Very
any
long
good
time
since.
ago. Yeah.
I just remember playing 2K, playing with like
That's
the
what I was gonna
all-time
say,
teams, like Detlef Shrimp. Yeah, don't say Detlef Shrimp into the mic too loud. You'll do all that shit. But all right, we can move on from the NBA. That was way off brand of us. But I think I like the Pacers just because nobody else is gonna want them. So I'm sure you won't pay attention whatsoever. But
No.
and that's okay. Let's get to our bread and butter, the MLB. It's been a couple of weeks, and I don't think we really want to go like division by division and talk how each team's doing because most of them are relatively unchanged. But there are a few teams that are, how do I want to put this? Like we were wrong on, a lot of people were wrong on, or a couple of reversions to the mean / actually might be good. And I want to start with the Boston Red Sox. Holy dog shit, we were wrong about the Red Sox. I think they just suck. They won today, but our little gambling group chat, one guy was on the Angels. I was on the Red Sox for the 3rd day in a row. They pissed me off each of the last 2 days. I got some of it back today. But, oh my goodness, baseball is a lot easier when you're not down 5-0 in the first inning. Like, can these guys pitch? They have no problems hitting the ball, given they were playing the Angels. But at least this series, hitting was not the problem. It's really hard to win a game when you're down 5-0 before you even grab the bats.
Yeah, it's really. I mean, this team was. I think I was just wrong, quite honestly. Like, and to your point, a lot of it has to do with the pitching, and I'm curious to know like how much of bumping a guy like Tanner Houck into the starting rotation last year has kind of played a role into that because he's been really bad. Like I know he's got over a 6 ERA. Let me find out. He's got an 8 ERA. So yeah, a little bit worse than I thought. I mean, it really feels like it's Garrett Crochet and company on the mound right now.
He's the only guy. Like
yes.
No, you bring in Giolito and like you're not expecting fantastic numbers out of him, right? But you want a guy like Lucas Giolito who has struggled outside of a season or two when he first broke into the league. You're expecting something serviceable out of a starting pitcher. He's a veteran guy. All you need is serviceable innings. And I don't think he got through 2 today. And it's not just today. It's every time he takes the mound. And you mentioned Tanner Houck. That's another guy. It's every time he takes the mound. Their bullpen's okay, but no one's bullpen is going to be good pitching 40 innings a week. Like, you can't do that. And, like, how many times are you going to expect your lineup to score 7, 8 runs? It's just not feasible. And, yeah, I don't think anyone's going to keep up with the Yankees in that division, like, especially playing like that. And, like, right now, you're kind of, like, you're not really out of it, right? Because, like, outside of Aaron Judge, have the Yankees really been that impressive as a team hitting the ball outside of, like, playing the Brewers or, a game here or there? I feel like they've been pitching really well and coupling that with really timely hitting. Aaron Judge is on another planet, so, like, this argument doesn't apply to him. But the rest of the team, I feel like, has been average, right? You're looking right now and you're like, oh, I think we're kind of like in contention, but are you? Like, in a month they're gonna be 10 games further back if they keep playing like this. And you had the whole story with Devers and Bregman where they're gonna play and all that, but like that seems to just be like a side quest at this point. It's like you guys can't pitch the ball. Like, we're so worried about, where are we gonna play this guy offense. That's kind of been the team's whole narrative, right? Like, oh, figuring the lineup out and whatnot. And it's like the real issue was the pitching.
Yeah, absolutely. And with the pitching, like I've got a good feeling that Walker Buehler might get shipped at the deadline. Like I would not be surprised to see him traded at the deadline. They didn't give him a super crazy contract. He hasn't been horrible, but he's under a strikeout per inning right now. He's pitching to like a 4-something ERA.
Yeah, he hasn't been good, but he hasn't been like the worst guy on the team. Like that's not why they're struggling. Yeah. But yeah, like that's a good point because it's like, what good is it to kind of keep him on the team? Like you kind of bought in this year thinking like, hey, we have a legitimate chance, and April 1st you did. But I think that ship has sailed. I think it's long gone.
I'll tell you one big issue they have, and it's that they're locked into Trevor Story right now. That is my doorbell. That's fantastic. I'm curious to see how it kind of plays out with Trevor Story because they're kind of locked into his contract right now. He's only hitting 217. He's got an OPS under 600 right now. He's aging. He's typically injury prone. He's actually played 60 games this year, which, like, if nothing else, that's productive for them.
Mm-hmm.
They got to figure something out on that front. And it just feels like they're locked into the contract. Nobody's going to take him on with the injury history. Mm-hmm. No one's going to take him on with how he's been performing. I just think that's a big issue with the offense. And I think the offense has been good so far. Like Rafaela has been solid. Abreu has been solid.
Wilmer Flores when he's been playing. Yeah, like I feel like the hitting hasn't been an issue across the board. Like I feel like minus Story, like you said, there are very few holes in that lineup, at least with a productivity standpoint, right? Like maybe maybe every guy's not hitting 15 home runs, 20 home runs in that lineup, but it seems like every time they play, they're able to put something together when it comes to offense. But most of the time in the games they lose, it's like over before the game starts. Like how as a hitter are you realistically expected to be 100% laser focused on being able to do your job at the plate when you are losing 6-0 and it is the bottom of the first inning? Every game this series has happened, and it was insane. They won today. I don't know how they did. They were down 5-0 out of the gate. They did it yesterday, and they did it the day before. They were down 6-0 and 4-0. Like, what do you expect?
Yeah,
I'm with crazy.
you. And last year, too, what was the big problem of that team? It was the bullpen. The bullpen for that team was atrocious. It was the worst bullpen in baseball in the second half of the season. So It feels like that hasn't really gotten any better. They did move, not Hauk, the guy who I always feel like is Hauk, Garrett Whitlock. They moved him back into the pen. He's been
good.
Fine. He's been good.
Yeah.
But that's a good role for him.
That's his role, that long reliever, like a day like
Chapman
today.
And Chapman has been really good for them. He's got 9 saves so far. So it's like you know your anchor and you know some of the guys that you can extend out of the bullpen. But getting there has been a real problem for them. And to your point, like half the starting rotation goes out there and gives up 5 in the first inning. That's like all she wrote.
Yeah, exactly. And like they're pros, like they're used to handling that kind of adversity. And, it's like, hey, I'm doing my job. Like I'm going to do my job if I'm losing 10-0, if we're up 10-0. Like that doesn't matter. But like it's kind of human to be like, what the fuck does it matter? Like what we're going to do is score 10 runs today, every day. But maybe you know about this more because maybe your Skipper's views, guys. I know they're all Red Sox fans. What do they think of Alex Cora? Because, like, I feel like he could take a lot of flack, but, like, that only works to a point, right? Like, I feel like with the Yankees, a lot of people were really unfair with Aaron Boone. But, like, for reasons. But then, like, not last year, but 2 years ago, like, he had a 500 AAA team. And, like, I feel like nobody gave him credit for that in 2023. I'm curious what they feel about Alex Cora because, like, I feel like we're almost at the spot where you can't give him too much shit anymore because the pitching staff is useless. Like, what do you want him to do? You have to put somebody out there. Like, if you have no options, like, you have to have someone who's not very high leverage arm out there. Like, he has nothing to do.
Yeah, definitely. I know that the narrative around Cora is, like, not well liked, but it's more so I can't remember the guy's name. It's the owner that they don't like.
Okay.
Or maybe the
GM. Yeah, it just doesn't do anything logical to make the team better. Okay. Well, because you know what I'm getting at, right? Like people love flaming Aaron Boone.
Yes.
It is Aaron Boone, right? I
For
know
the Yankees.
yeah, it's Aaron Boone.
Yes.
I'm not
Yes.
saying Brent. Okay. Well, you know what I mean, right? Like they love flaming him, but like I'm serious. Like that was a hell of a coaching job in 2023 when they had like Jake Bowers and
Yes.
whoever else was with Aaron Judge, because that was literally a AAA team and they won 81 games. That was crazy, and I don't think anybody besides myself gives him credit for that. Maybe
Yeah.
I'm way off base, but I don't think I am. Like they should have won 60 games and they were 500. But maybe that's just a perk of having Aaron Judge on your team still. But
Definitely helps.
yeah, I'm just you get what I'm saying, right? It's like at some point, like it's not the manager's fault because like yes, you can if you have one or two guys struggling, you don't give up on them, but you work them in low leverage situations until they can kind of get their feet under them again or feel confident on the mound. But like, where do you turn when nobody's pitching well?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm definitely with you on that.
Another team we can. I don't know if you have anything else to add about the Brown Sox.
I was going to throw a team into the. I was going to throw
Oh,
another team.
okay. Yeah, you go. Yeah, you do one.
Kind of on the other side of the coin is actually the Twins that I think I was wrong on.
Yes.
I was really down on the Twins, and they started off horribly, which granted is a big reason why they're 6 games back. Another reason they're 6 games back is because the best team in baseball is in first place in the Detroit Tigers, but they're playing really good baseball right now, and that's surprising to me because coming into the year, everybody was kind of on them. They're like, "Oh, this is the Twins' year," and I was just looking at the roster, and I'm like, "I don't think it's that good."
It was unchanged for the most part. Like they added Ty France.
Yeah. Pablo Lopez, like I said last year, he was one of the unluckiest pitchers in all of baseball, and he's kind of reverted back to the mean. He's pitching to a 2.82. He's been throwing the ball really well. The really surprising guy is that Chris Paddock has a 3.58 right now in 12 starts.
After giving up like 30 runs in 3 games.
He gave up a million like in one of his first starts. Joe Ryan obviously is plugging away. He's one of the best pitchers in baseball. Bailey Ober is starting to figure it out, which is really good for them. That bullpen has been insanely good again. The one surprise on the bad side of the bullpen to me was Griffin Jacks. He was one of the best relievers in baseball last year, and he's been kind of underwhelming, but still has really good stuff. And the offense is just fun. Like Trevor Larnach is ripping the ball. Ty France has been productive, which is crazy to say because
he's not a good baseball player.
He started 58. Oh, you can't say that about him. We love Ty France.
We do, but like he's on my naughty list right now because he's pretty useless.
Buxton has stayed relatively healthy, which is great for them because he's one of the best players in baseball when he is. Jeffers has been solid for them. Brooks Lee has been solid for them. I just think I was wrong about this team. I think this team is a lot better than what I originally thought they were going to be. I will be curious to see what happens. You mentioned the Tigers as a team that you think might cool off a little bit. That pitching staff is absurd. I'm curious to see what reverting back to the mean is for the Tigers because of how good the offense has been, especially at the top part of the lineup, like the meat of that order has been unbelievable so far.
Riley Green, those
Torque, guys. Yep, those guys have been unbelievable so far. The Twins are playing really good baseball. Like if I'm a Detroit fan or if I'm a Cleveland fan, I am more concerned about the Twins than anybody else.
I would be too, and I don't know if we were necessarily wrong about the Twins based on what we have seen the last 2-3 weeks. I think we just overreacted a little bit.
Yeah,
like. You weren't high on them, which was fair based on like you said, like the lack of real additions they made. But I know I overreacted to them being bad. Like a week in, I was ready for their heads. Like this team's garbage. They can't do anything right. Chris Paddock gave up 30 runs in 3 starts. Yeah, so I kind of look stupid, but like they've been much better. I think getting Royce Lewis back is going to be good for them too. And I know he hasn't been playing all that well. I think he was like 0 for 30 in his last 8-10 games, something like that. But I saw Shady Beeve was like, I saved Royce Lewis. He put a graphic, send him to single A, please. And then he hit like 2 home runs or something. But yeah, they've definitely turned it around and at the right time too, because if they played poorly for another couple of weeks, I don't think the Tigers would be catchable.
No, not at all. Yeah, they've been impressive. I'm starting to think I was wrong about them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm with you there. Do you want to beat up on the Rockies a little bit? Because they are actually...
Is that even fair?
No, I'd say no if they were just bad, but we are living in MLB history. In 2 consecutive seasons, we got to see generationally horrible, not even generationally horrible, the 2 worst baseball teams of all time. They're worse than last year's White Sox by hands down. It's not close. Like, I'm curious when the White Sox got their 10th win last year. I know they struggled in the teens, and it appears the Rockies are going to blow through those because they picked up 3 in a row, probably the first time in 3 seasons. But they are so much worse than last year's White Sox team. Not even close. They are so bad.
No, it's not relatively close. And Hunter Goodman has been the one guy on that team that's actually been fun to watch. He's got 13 doubles, 10 pumps, 819 OPS. Everybody else on that team is horrible. Like horrible. They have I don't even know what you do with that team. Like,
no, you can't.
You have to trade Ryan. I keep seeing people that say you need to trade Hunter Goodman. I don't think you do. He's 25. He's still on his young deal. Like, let him live. Get rid of Ryan McMahon. Like, do something. Like, you have to.
Like last year they got rid of Brendan Rodgers. Like guys like that. Like kind of older guys. I
like Ryan McMahon. I actually think Ryan McMahon would be a really good fit on a contender.
I think so too. Yeah.
He makes a lot of sense to get rid of at this point. You know what my biggest concern with the Rockies is? I am starting to come to the conclusion that they might get moved out of Denver or whatever.
Because they're so bad.
They are so bad. And even when we go look at their World Series year, that lineup was built to just mash baseballs, and the pitching staff was like unbelievably underwhelming. They can't get pitcher, especially with the new era of baseball analytics. Like, you can't accidentally run into a Ubaldo Jimenez anymore. Like, you can't run into those guys anymore.
Yeah.
It doesn't. Like, nobody that is
going to take a chance on a guy like that
is going to change. Yeah, no actual ace pitcher, no actual number 2 in the league is going to take the stock decline that it's going to put on their contract by pitching in cores for a couple of years for that money. And I'm starting to think that at some point the Rockies organization is just going to have to leave. Like, I think at
go
some
to
point
Utah or something. Yeah. I
mean, you got to do something, right? And the fact that no pitcher, the pitchers don't want to go there because they stink, but I think it's deeper than that too. If you look at the last 8 years, even when Bud Black took over, like, they had a couple of successful years at the beginning of his tenure, and successful meaning like 70 some odd wins, like not good, but not what we're seeing right now.
Completely.
And there's still at that point, their best arms were like Jorge De La Rosa. It's like, you can't get high quality arms to pitch there, especially with today's contracts, today's analytics. Like, it doesn't exist. And unless you can somehow go get 9 of the best hitters on the planet to come play for you, you're probably not going to ever make the playoffs again. And I think and I don't know when that's going to be. The attendance there stinks. Like, quite honestly, as somebody who has grown up there at this point, Rockies games are like a social event.
Yeah, you just go to drink some beers, hang out with your friends. It's like cheaper than a cover at a bar. It's $5 to get into the damn stadium.
Get a $10 ticket, go up to the rooftop, hang out. It's just like, I think they're going to move, which would be like a real bummer to see. It's not that old of an organization. Their first year, I believe, was 92, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that sounds right.
A relatively new team. I just think that you have to I think we have to just come to the realization that it might be coming, because what is the outlook? I personally, as a college guy, as somebody who follows a lot of college guys, I love what they have in the farm system. I don't know that those guys are going to get them to a playoff team. And I was somebody at the beginning of the year that was like 4 or 5 years, this team might be knocking on the door of a playoffs. I don't know that they have 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, it's a good point. And it's like, it would suck to happen because I feel like the whole brand of Colorado Rockies baseball is really cool, right? It's like a unique thing. The stadium's huge, but you just home runs all the time, like very fun atmosphere. But it's almost like trying to build a championship football team without having defensive players on your team. Like, you only play offense. Like, that, it just doesn't work. And like, to all the things you said, they're true. Like, no pitcher's going to want to go play there because it's going to cost them millions of dollars in the future. Like,
yes.
what do you do?
And when you look at baseball as a whole, in terms of the landscape, when they were able, 2007, 2008, when we're able to make a playoff push, think about how many guys on every roster in the league were throwing 100 compared to now, right?
Negligible now.
Yeah. So it's one of those things where you can get by with having, Jorge De La Rosa adjacent as your rotation, and you'll be okay because the team on the other side of the ball has a guy
the
that
same thing,
more or less the same, right? Not the same, but like comparable. And now it's like, okay, we've got, the Garrett Coles of the world, the
they're
Garrett
throwing
Plays of the world.
102 in the first inning, and they're
And
throwing 103 in the seventh.
Yeah, and the Rockies are rolling out Kyle Freeland and Antonio Senzatella. You know what I mean? It's just we're on such an uneven playing field at this point. Even a guy like Chase Dollander, who I really like, he's pitching to a 7 ERA right now.
Yeah, he's better than a 7. Like, I feel like he's the one guy on that team who's like, that's kind of not fair for him to start his career there. Yeah.
And he's gonna it's gonna be like John Gray with him. Like when John Gray got brought up with the Rockies, it was like, we actually have an arm here. Never performed there. He gets moved to Texas, and he's good, putting together a serviceable arm, right?
Yeah.
They can't even get those. You know what I mean? Like they can't even really stick with serviceable arms at this point. It's just like, these are the guys we have on our roster. Let's see what happens.
But I mean, I guess the only counter I would say to that is like, you have examples of guys that like pitch in Coors for 3-4 years and then they leave and they have success elsewhere. These, minus Dollander, of course, because I mean it's hard to tell with him. He's 22 years old. Like, you can't. The jury's still out on him. But Herman Marquez, Kyle Freeland, like, those guys aren't good pitchers, anyways. They could pitch on the moon and they'd struggle. You know what I mean? Like, they're not good. It kind of reinforces your point. Like, they can't be competitive in the pitching market because nobody wants to go there. But I would really struggle to admit that this team would be just as bad if you had a competent pitching staff there. Like, even, yes, I know it's hard to pitch at Coors. Your ERA gets inflated. Flyouts at PNC Park turn into home runs there. But I just feel like, yes, maybe the Rockies would still be bad, but not historically bad if you had any bit of serviceable. It seems like they just threw in the towel on this season in February.
Yeah. They would be like where they are at currently. If they had some serviceable pitching and weren't at Coors, they would be very comparable to the Marlins.
Yeah, and I think that's fair too, right? But like, at least with past Rockies teams that have struggled, you had hitting. And like, I feel like the pitching is getting a free pass because like that's the one thing that shouldn't be a struggle with that team is hitting, and it is. Like they don't even hit at home. And like that was kind of the narrative for the last how many years, right? Like, we might not be able to pitch at home, but at least we can hit. They can't even hit. You're getting shut out at home. Like, and see, that's another good point too. It's like the other team has to pitch there too.
Yeah.
And they're pitching well at your place. And in the past, that's not the case. Like, how standard totals 10.5 there. And you'd see 13-11. You're not getting that. Like, you're scoring 2 runs. And it's because the guy threw a pass ball in the 8th inning. Like, they didn't even hit it home outside of Hunter Goodman, like you said. Because Brenton Doyle's absent without leave. Like, he'd be in prison for desertion if the Army caught him. Like, what's he been doing? Nothing. Like, up and down that lineup, it's nothing. But I don't know if we need to poo-poo on the Rockies too much more. I do have one question though. Does the MLB do the All-Star where every team has a representative?
Every team has a representative. It's going to be
okay. That's the only. I was going to say
he's the only guy on their team who is hitting. I think he's definitely the only qualified hitter hitting above like 220. He's the only qualified hitter. Oh no, Jordan Beck is hitting 254. So they have 2 guys that conceivably could be an all-star. It's probably going to be Goodman just because he's young. He's a fun story. He's actually hitting the ball like well in terms of even MLB standard. He's hitting the ball well. Like, there's nobody on that team that is hitting even remotely okay other than him. Like Beck is hitting the ball fine, like 788 OPS, which is pretty solid. 8 home runs, 9 doubles. But it's pretty much just those two. It's going to be one of those two, and that's going to be it. Like I don't even think Brenton Doyle's going to get it this year because he's
been bad.
Yeah, which is pretty surprising to me. I thought he took the next jump from last year. Obviously, still a demon in the outfield, but the offense has kind of reverted back to what we saw in year one.
Yeah, but
it'll be him. At least he's like actually somewhat deserving, at least at this point in time. I guess I can.
Yeah, it's not like you're
picking in a couple of months.
Like you remember 2 years ago when like Paul Blackburn got picked from the A's and the A's were so bad, but like Paul Blackburn was actually kind of good.
Yeah.
Like the next year, like when they picked him, he had like a 7 ERA, and then like the next year he was like pitching actually to a 3. Good, yeah. But yeah, I don't want to poo-poo on them too much more, but it's just historically bad. Yeah. I don't know. You got one more team you want to cover? Because we can probably wrap this one up. It's getting a little long.
Yeah, I'm going to stick with a bad team that I think I was wrong on and that you were right on. It's the A's.
Oh, yeah, I know. I didn't want to rub it in. They've lost, 15 of their last 20?
They're 1-9 in their last 10. They're the only team with a better run differential than the Rockies.
Yeah, they suck.
It's just the pitching, man. Their pitching
is it's like Red Sox.
The offense is still good. Like I love the offense still. Like and that's why I thought they were going to be okay. Is the offense is still fun. Like I love the offense. That pitching staff. You gave Luis Severino the most expensive contract in franchise history. You have had MVPs in this organization. You have had World Series competing teams in the organization. It's a 4-5, and he's got 55 punch outs in 77 innings. Like he's not even sniffing a K, like 1 K per inning. Yeah, it is horrendous. It's just a disservice to this team, and you just got to feel bad for a guy like Mason Miller. It's like, he's the guy, and even he's struggled to this point. Like, and I'm not, he's still electric. Like when he's on, but even he's got hit around a little bit, which I think is just kind of a testament to what's happening with this pitching staff. Like things are just tanking right now. And granted, they're playing in a AAA park.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Like, how much of that do you think is the stadium?
I think a lot, personally. I think it is definitely affecting them. The offense is still fun, but the pitching staff, especially in that park, is like bad.
But the A's are kind of like what you'd expect out of the Rockies being a bad team, right? Mm-hmm. Like, hey, we're not pitching well, but we are hitting well too. Like they're playing relative to who they're playing. Yeah, exactly my point. But yeah, I was right on them. It's not that I don't like them. It's just like everybody was like with you. Oh, this team might be sneaky good. I'm like, no, they're not.
I was right last year. I was right last year. I was very wrong this year.
But it was really funny because until like mid-May, you were right. Like they were actually like I think they were above 500 for a couple of weeks.
Yeah, they were. They were second in the division for a while there.
15 in a row or something.
Yeah, they played atrocious baseball the last couple of weeks. It's actually been astounding. And to our point on the stadium thing, they're 9-21 at home and they're 14-18 on the road. Like they just get shelled at home.
But it's like relative. Like, hey, that's like what you'd expect for having like a park where you're at a disadvantage at. Like,
but to your point, other teams have to pitch there too, right? But that's just what happens.
Yeah, it's you're seeing that. Staff, you're seeing that they're scoring runs.
Yes, they are scoring, but they're giving up a ton of runs. Their run differential is horrendous right now.
Yeah, I bet the A's on Saturday against the Blue Jays, and I was working, and it was a roller coaster from what I could see. They gave up 3, they scored 5. They gave up 3, they scored 2. It was just like, holy crap, this team can't pitch. And it was like that all weekend. Like I was waiting to like get back in on the A's, and Sunday they were up 4-0. I'm like, oh man, I missed my chance. They lost 8-4. It's like, they were on the road too, but it was like, what? I don't know. Some of the I feel like a lot of seasons, you have a lot of teams that are like similar being average, right? Not necessarily. I don't know if you're getting what I'm trying to say, but like the records are all close, but like maybe the way that record comes to be is all over the place this year.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, oh, like most teams, they'll blow a save and lose 5-4. I feel like we're all over the place with how the results happen as opposed to just looking at the records, because there are some really good teams, there are some really bad teams. Everyone's kind of in the middle, but each team, maybe it's because I'm paying more attention this year, but like each team seems to have its own unique way of losing or winning in their own fashion. I don't know. But hey, my Cubbies are good.
Great.
PCA, I was really hard on him, like a lot of people were, but he is an electric factory. He can do it all.
Yes.
True 5-tool player. Ugly motherfucker, though. But great baseball player. Kyle Tucker.
Stud.
Good to go. He's so good.
Stud.
I hope the Cubs re-sign
extend him. I can't believe they haven't extended him yet. Like, I actually cannot believe they haven't extended him yet.
I don't think they're gonna. Stupid. I don't think they're gonna.
You have to.
They're like, oh, we have PCA. We're good to go.
He's not Kyle Tucker. I think PCA has blown me out of the water, like impressive wise, what he's done on offense. He's going to regress a little bit. Like, I think we just have I'm not sure that right now there's the mutual understanding that he's going to cool off a little bit. I don't know how much. Like, I don't think he's going to be like last year at the plate. I don't think he is going to do what he is doing now. I think he's consistently going to show flashes of it and be ever so slightly less productive. Like, I genuinely don't know that he is an MVP caliber player.
Yeah, I think that's a little overzealous.
And that's kind of, and that's
that, but.
Yeah, and that's kind of what he's playing like right now. Quite honestly, like he's playing like an MVP caliber player. I don't know that he is that. Not saying that he is going to struggle or be bad, but I think he is overperforming. So you can't expect him to replace Kyle Tucker if you don't extend him.
No, but it's a hunch. I just don't think they're going to do it. Which would be insane. It would be, but I don't know. Who would you compare PCA to? Like another similar player in the league? Just one.
This might be way off base. I think he can be Julio Rodriguez-esque. Like, you feel like on any given year, like if he puts it all together, he could be an MVP. I don't know that he ever will. Like, slightly under that. You know what I mean? Like, he plays really good defense. I feel like he falls into that category. I don't know if there's another player that maybe Jarren Duran type player.
Okay. I feel like you gave two good examples, but I was hoping you were going to find someone that's like unequivocally better, right? And I was going to say, because like Julio Rodriguez, I feel like Julio Rodriguez, I was going to say, like, you pick somebody that he's similar to. I feel like his ceiling could be higher, but his floor could be lower. J-Rod's proven that his floor could be very, very low. So, like, that didn't help my example whatsoever. Like, you know, you get what I'm saying, right?
Yeah.
Like, he might have the better flashes, but when he's not playing his best, I feel like it's going to be lower than that.
Yeah, but, I agree.
Mariners have been a fun story, though. Otherwise, like Cal Raleigh. He brought up J-Rod. Cal Raleigh's best catcher in baseball.
He's one of the best players in baseball right now. They're going to break our hearts eventually. It's what they do. Just wait till we get in August.
Oh, I know. Yeah, it always happens. They forget how to hit.
I didn't bet on them this year. I couldn't do it.
June's typically pretty tough for them. That's when they like to strike out 80 times a week.
Yeah, correct.
I don't know if he does, though. I feel like Cal Raleigh's pretty consistent at putting the ball in play.
Yeah, he let's find out. He's got 70 strikeouts in 216 at bats, so right around 30%.
30%, it's a little high, but not like I mean, J-Rod's at like 40%. Or he has been. I don't know if he is now.
Yeah, J-Rod is at 51 Ks in 230 at bats, so like 20%.
20. Okay, that's much better, much improved. But yeah, I mean, for the most part, I feel like we've covered most of the teams that we were way off base on, minus the Rockies, but like we were so off base because like no one could perceive them being that bad. But otherwise, I feel like we didn't really miss. I know you were pretty low on the Marlins, and I feel like I was a little more right on them just because I didn't think they would be terrible. I thought they would be serviceable just because everyone thought they'd be terrible. And I think getting swept by the Rockies isn't ideal, but I feel like they're playing okay. I was probably wrong on the Brewers, and you were probably right. They've been playing much better baseball the last 2 weeks, even though I still think that team is a little flawed.
Yes, definitely. I agree with that. But 9-1 in the last 10, playing good baseball.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe was wrong about the Reds too. I was pretty high on the Reds coming into this year.
I wasn't like really, really high on them, but I thought they would take some strides, and I don't think they're I think they got even worse. Something if that's possible. Like they don't hit either.
No, they don't.
It's a really good combination. Can't pitch and can't hit. Like it's really good.
Still only 3 games under 500 though, so they're hanging around.
Yeah. Cardinals, maybe we were wrong on them. Like they're playing good ball, and I feel like every source you were to look up gave them an F in the offseason, and they're playing much better baseball than I'm sure anybody anticipated. But outside of that, I feel like there weren't too many other flat-out misses.
No, I don't think so.
Orioles. I think everybody.
Orioles. Well, no, I was on that. I mean, I didn't think they were going to be that bad, but I thought they were.
Yeah, like that's not really fair because like nobody thought they were going to be that bad. I was right on the Rays. I mean, the Rays are kind of stinky, right? Or so.
They're 2 games over 500, but they're second in the division, which
yeah,
I don't know what speaks to it.
Yeah, that's so. Blue Jays, I think we were both kind of low on them.
I think I was wrong about the Rangers. They were my dark horse.
They suck. They fucking suck.
Hot take. DeGrom gets traded this year. That's my hot take.
Oh yeah, they suck. They're not. Yeah. They're not good. I think the Royals too. I think they're kind of ass. Like crazy.
Yeah, I picked them to get third, but yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, just kind of. I felt like they were in a position to really improve, and I think they took a big step back. I don't know if that's roster-wise or if they're not playing their best ball, but
I think they overachieved last year. I don't like that lineup that much. Like, I thought their big problem last year was lineup depth, but they got away with a lot during the season and found a way in. And I feel like now it's just getting exposed.
Okay, yeah. I think you're right there. Yeah, I mean, outside of that, I feel like we were kind of way it's shaping out, minus the AL East, really, just because.
Yeah.
Whatever. I mean, I don't think you were really high on the Guardians, right?
I picked them to win the divisions.
Well, okay.
I wasn't insanely high on them, but I picked them to win the division. I thought they were going to.
They were in second, right? They're in second, right? Or third?
They're in third. The Twins are in second.
Okay. Well, they're not like bad. They're just
no, they're not bad.
Mid. They're just incredibly mid.
Yes.
Yeah, I think your worst miss was probably the Rangers or the A's.
The Rangers, yeah, I'm gonna go with the Rangers just because the A's was more of like I like this offense.
Yeah,
and I'm not wrong about the offense, but pitching is horrible.
I'm trying to think of my worst.
I'm going with the Rangers. The Rangers is my worst miss.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of my worst too. Because I feel like I had them, but they weren't as severe as yours. If that makes sense. I'd say the Mariners. I was never high on the Mariners. Come on, you're supposed to help me out. You're supposed to know what I'm bad at.
I don't remember.
I don't either.
Maybe the Giants. Were you down on the Giants? I can't remember what you said about.
Yeah, but I think everybody.
But it's more. It was more so like the Dodgers being the Dodgers. It was like no one else is going to be that good in this.
Yeah, and I mean,
like this team is going to stink.
Yeah, you could even make a case for us being wrong about the Dodgers because they are not going to be like the best team ever. They're going to be good,
they're not.
But
they're going to be good. Yeah, they'll be. I think you said like they'll be 100 plus
100 to 105. Yeah.
Yes.
I'm really trying to think. Like, I'm not even trying to like insinuate that I know ball. Braves.
I don't remember what we said about the Braves, but they're under 500 and they are playing better, but they've just kind of been riding. They like played really bad, played really good, and now they're just mid and they're still under 500.
Yeah. Phillies haven't been that impressive. Yeah, I'd say I was probably wrong about. I'd say the Mariners, for sure, and then maybe the Brewers. I don't think the Brewers are out of it yet, so I'll go with that.
Yeah,
just blind hatred clouding my judgment.
It's fair.
All right, you want to wrap this puppy up? We've been going a while.
Yeah, that's all we got. Make sure you're following us on Twitter at Overdue Sports. Make sure you're subscribing to the YouTube, getting these. Subscribe to the Spotify. If you're still listening to this point, you're an absolute sicko, but hit the like button. Make sure that you are getting this every single week, and we will see you next time.